Okay, we're going to be talking about math tutoring and is it worth the money? Well, let's just get to the short answer, and it all depends. So, what I'm going to share with you in this video is a lot of ways that you should kind of be weighing a decision about math tutoring because math tutoring, there's lots of, there's not a single definition for it, and the prices can range dramatically. But there are times where it is worth money, and there are times when it's really not. So what I'm going to try to do is give you some information that will make you more, well informed, if you will, so you can make a better decision on whether you're going to get yourself some math tutoring, or maybe you're going to get math tutoring for your child, or and I would also add in like learning centers as well as part of math tutoring. Okay, I'm not going to say any names, but any kind of professional learning center. So, with that being said, we're going to get right to it now. Let me just say one other thing. If you're struggling with math and if you're looking, if you like my teaching style, I offer a lot of variety of different math courses that you can use either as a full math course or to study from to supplement what you're doing in class. So I'll leave a link in the description to my main website so you can check out my various math courses if you think I could help you out. But with that being said, let's talk about math tutoring. So I used to be, and I still obviously involved in mathematics for many, many years, but I taught middle school through high school into college and whatnot. So I've had a chance to be, not only a math teacher, but a math tutor. So many math teachers also do tutoring on the side. Now, depending on what you're teaching and what you're tutoring, you can actually make very good money. So it's not uncommon for math teachers to tutor at the high school level, depending on what district you're in. I mean, $50 is like maybe like kind of the minimum. And the district that I was in, where I taught in northern New Jersey, literally some tutors could command up to $100 per hour. That's pretty expensive, right? But what are they tutoring? They might be tutoring someone for the SAT or ACT, and of course, certain families, might be able to afford this. That's very expensive tutoring for 1 hour. I mean, where this is 1 hour of tutoring. So, I would say probably the average rate that I was used to at the high school level, we're talking about high school level math, or getting students ready for the SAT and ACTs, really like say $75 per hour. So it is expensive. Now, this varies to different parts of the country, but it's all relative. So if you're, let's say, in some other state that is, definitely not as expensive as, the Northeast or California or whatnot, even if it's $30 an hour, $25, it doesn't make a difference. It's still, a lot of money. Now, if you have a good tutor, a highly qualified tutor, then the impact could be very powerful. So, is it worth the money? Well, it really all depends. Okay, so let's talk about some various scenarios where you may want to spend this money if you can. Okay, and if you can't afford math tutoring, what do you do? All right. So first of all, let me just kind of write down here what you should always. Let me just see if I can actually spell this correct. What you should always do, and then here are some options. All right, options. Now, math tutoring. All right, or learning centers. Why do we need them? Why are you going there to them? 80-90% of the time, it's because somebody is having a difficulty with math. They're struggling with math. They're having a problem. They're failing the class. They're falling behind, whatever the case is. Okay, so I would say, in my experience, and these are just rough numbers, maybe like 80% of the time, someone is seeking out math tutoring because they have math issues. They have math problems. All right, not a math problem like, hey, I got to solve this problem. They have math problems. They're struggling in math. Okay, you're saying, well, isn't that's obviously why somebody would want to get a tutor? Yeah, well, there are exceptions. Okay, there are a lot of people. I've tutored quite a few students that went on to top colleges that are already excelling in math. So you're saying, well, why do they need a tutor? Well, because they're trying to really excel and compete at a higher, like the highest level. So 20% of, I would say, students, in my experience, these numbers, just take them for, with a grain of salt, but maybe, not every, my point here is not every single student that is thinking about math tutoring is doing so because they're struggling. Okay. Some of you out there are thinking about it, maybe like say 20% because you want to be like the best. All right. And that's a relative term. The best in terms of, hey, I want to go to Harvard. I want to go to MIT. I want to go to, you know, whatever you name it. The top. I want to get to max out the SAT. So if you're competing at that level, then you want to get an edge, right? You want to get all the edge you can. Like I'm already getting an A in math. I'm getting straight A's and whatnot, but how could I even be better? So there are those students and families that make that additional investment. Okay, so let's assume that you can afford. Excuse me. Let's assume that you can afford, the going rate for an excellent math tutor. Now, in my experience, the most qualified, and I use this term loosely, the best math tutors are generally speaking like high school math teachers. That's a very common thing. We're talking, and by the way, too, this is applicable, let's say, to college. I'll talk to you college students here in a second, but I'm really kind of talking mostly for those students that are, elementary, middle school, and high school level. So high school level math teachers are going to command the most money because these are these. If you think about it, look, if somebody's in high school, they have to get those grades. The GPA really counts for college entrance, so it's a big deal. So high school math teachers know the course. They may know the teacher that you're in. Okay, if you're a particular student, I knew that if I was tutoring a student in high school, many of the students, I knew their teacher. I knew what they would want. I would go to their teacher. They would give me more information on that student. So I could really provide highly effective tutoring, and I also maybe taught that course in that school district. So that's why teachers are going to really command the most because guess what? There's not as many math teachers you might think in the high school, right? You think of, there might be 1,000 students in a school, but there's only going to be, let's say, 20 math teachers. So you command a kind of a premium there in that district. So if you have the money, I would say that generally speaking, you might want to go to your math department, your math teacher. Generally speaking, your math teacher in of themselves will not tutor you. They're kind of uncomfortable. I know I was. I never really tutored any individual students, for outside of school. But however, I would refer them to another teacher that was doing that. So, I mean, I don't want to get off topic here, but basically, if you're looking at math tutoring, you want to be seeking out, go to your math teacher and your math department. Now, this can also be applicable to middle school and elementary school. Same thing. So if you're a parent or if you're a student, go to your teacher, ask them, hey, can you recommend a math teacher or a math tutor, preferably someone who teaches this course and really knows, the expectations. So that's kind of like where you should direct your focus first, okay, in terms of if you're actually going to get a math teacher. But I want to get back to what I just wrote here first, okay, because I don't want to go too far off on a tangent. What you should always do, irrespective of you getting a math tutor or not, you always should ask, okay, for extra help from your teacher, all right, from your teacher. So if you're in a math class, you should always go to your teacher. Your teacher has built in, or they should have built in extra time to after school, before school, during lunch to help students. Guess what? not a lot of students take advantage of this time. Some do, okay? But I know when I was teaching in class, I would try the students that really needed the extra help. Guess what? They didn't show up. It was always this. It was always those students that were, well, most of the time, it was those students that wanted to get better. Took advantage. So that's like free tutoring. Okay. So when you go to your teacher for extra help, this is in fact free tutoring. You're saving money, right? And you're getting, and if you think about it, right, even if you're getting 15 minutes, 10 minutes of your time, if you just take away the breakdown and the hourly rate, you're saving money. And listen, if you can get your teacher one-on-one, that is tutoring. That's what someone is paying that teacher $75 an hour for. Okay, you're getting the same thing for free if you go seek it out. So what I'm saying to you is always start to try to get as much time, one-on-one time with your teacher, right? it's your teacher's getting paid for that already. All right, so take advantage. And by the way, too, you're saying, well, that's your teacher's only going to help you if you're struggling in class in your class or whatnot. Not true. Most teachers, if you show them initiative and you're like, hey, can you help me with this and this, that, your teacher's going to help you out. Okay, even if it's for the SAT or ACT, they're going to help you out in any way. I'm sure that's the case with. I know that's the case with myself and all the teachers that I know, and I'm sure for the grand majority of teachers out there, they will help you. So, in terms of math tutoring, is it worth the money? First of all, don't pay money if you haven't taken advantage of the free stuff first. So, always try to maximize as much time as you can with your teacher. Okay, your math teacher, assuming that you're in a math class. Okay, now, some of you may not be familiar with some of the videos that I do. I'm hoping to become a subscriber to my YouTube channel, but I also help those individuals taking a variety of tests, things like the GED or the HiSET or the TASC, those type of tests. So in that case, you may not be in a formal math class, and you might be asking, well, do I need to get a math tutor to help me study for these exams? That's a little bit different, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. Okay, so after you've fully, completely taken advantage of your math teacher, now you have to ask yourself, well, above and beyond that, should I hire someone? Okay, this is a very personal decision. So if I'm speaking to the parent right now, um, one, it's got to be in your budget. Okay, and the thing about it is this: you got to be very careful. If you can only afford, let's say, $20 per hour, okay, and you're saying, well, I can't afford to hire my local math teacher, at $20 an hour, but maybe I can hire this college kid for $20 an hour to sit with my child. You got to be careful about that, because sometimes if you don't have a highly qualified math tutor, and I mean by that someone who's experienced, who knows how to tutor, who understands the expectations of what a student should know, sometimes that can actually get you in trouble. Sometimes you can have a tutor that can maybe even confuse your child, because they might be teaching them a way that they don't really understand, or whatnot. It can go both ways. Sometimes it can work. Sometimes you're taking a big risk, is what I'm saying. So if you go for like a lower cost tutor, like let's say I'm going to hire my best friend's daughter, who happens to be studying engineering, but she's good in math. You got to just really assess that. Okay, if they're comfortable with it and you're seeing positive results, then yes, but just don't blindly go into it with thinking that, well, because they took math and they were good at math, that they'll be a great tutor. Tutoring is a completely different deal. Listen, there's people out there with PhDs in mathematics, are brilliant geniuses, but they may not be the best, most effective teacher. Okay, because teaching is a completely separate skill set than actually doing mathematics. Okay, so you may not think that, well, just because you know something, you can teach it. No, not necessarily so. Teaching is a skill that has to be developed over many years. Okay, when I started off teaching, I have a degree in math and master's, whatnot. I was terrible my first year, and I was like, I had to get with expert teachers, and you just build up and you learn how to communicate. So this is why if you're going to be paying these top premiums, you want to get with, you're going to be paying for experience, knowledge, professionalism, experience, you know, now that's where you're really, if you can't afford it, having a fantastic math tutor can definitely have an impact. But just know this much: if you're going to go into math tutoring, and whatever your budget can afford, you're going to this is going to be more of a longer term commitment. So here's the thing: what I'm saying is this: if you're going to hire a math tutor, you need to be prepared that this is probably going to be at least a weekly type of deal, because think about it. If a math tutor is only going to meet with you 1 hour per week, that's not much time, especially if you're falling back uh, in math. Okay, so I used to tutor some students who needed it and the parents could afford it, like 2, 3 times a week. And sometimes even more than that. I mean, that was a tremendous expense for the family, but that's sometimes I was able to save that more often than not. I was able to turn that student around at least to get through their situation. So you got to be weighing all these things. First of all, obviously, free. You got to take advantage of the teacher. You got to get that free math tutoring, and then in terms of the second thing is, can your budget afford a top-notch math teacher? That's the next thing. If you can, then you have to consider the situation. Okay, and considering the situation, I would say this: what's at risk? Okay, if your child needs to pass a certain math class in order to graduate high school, that's a big risk. Okay, so you may spend that premium, that significant amount of money, because what's at risk is terrible, right? If they don't pass this math class, they don't graduate. So that's a big deal. However, if your child is getting a B in math and you're like, well, they could do better, well, that's a personal discretionary thing. If you have the budget and you want it, if they can go from a B to an A, then yes, then you can consider math tutoring. But what I'm getting at here, because I know hopefully I'm doing a good job with this video, because there's a lot of considerations. Okay, it's not a cut and dry scenario. Okay, because it is really dependent on someone's financial ability to hire a math tutor. Okay, and the various reasons why, etc. But hopefully I'm giving you enough scenarios to think about this. But let's get back to this other scenario I'm talking about. Even if you can afford the math tutoring and your child is at a B and you want them to have an A, I would just not blindly go, oh, you need a math tutor. Especially, and parents, hopefully you're listening to this, not only parents, students, and adults as well. Don't just tell yourself psychologically, I need a math tutor. Like I'm not getting A's, so therefore I need a math tutor. That's a fallacy. Okay, yes, sometimes a math tutor can help, but don't make the equivalency. Not doing good in math, not doing well in math equals you must have a math tutor. Okay, that is not true. There's other things that you need to be doing to improve your math grade. So if you have a child and they're getting B's or C's, well, there's a ton of other things you need to be looking at in order for them to that they can. It doesn't cost you money. You just got to get them to be more focused in class. How are they doing their homework? Are they taking good notes? Are they seeing the teacher? There's a ton of different things. And I used to just get frustrated. Listen, I'm a parent myself, so I've been there, done that with my child. Um, and sometimes kids they want this kind of like customized, personalized instruction. Hey, mom and dad, listen, I don't like my math teacher. Can you hire me a tutor and make it nice and comfortable for me to have this person come over to the house and teach me one on one? It was like it's a little bit too much. Okay. See, if you get a tutor for your child, and if you're not making them work hard enough, in that class with that teacher, you're doing them a disservice, because when they go off to college, you can't, if they don't like their teacher, you can't change that, especially in college. You're going to have to learn how to deal with it. So what I'm getting at here is, just because you can afford a tutor doesn't mean that you should go run off to get a tutor. Okay. So, and by the way, too, again, just to say earlier, when I mean tutoring, that would include learning centers as well. Okay. And learning centers, math tutor, I'm not taking anything away from the ones that do a good job. They can be, they do a tremendous good service for those folks that really do need them. Okay. That really do have a need for additional instruction above and beyond what they get outside the classroom. They can do a good job. They're not cheap, okay, but again, for if that's what it takes for a student to get complete their education, then then it's definitely worth the money for those parents that can afford those things. So anyways, let's get back to other options here, right? Just want to make sure we're clear. Okay, so the other options is this: if you can't afford, let's say your student really does, probably warrant math tutoring. They saw their teacher or whatnot, but you can't afford a math tutor. Well, what can you do? Okay, so some of the things I would do outside of, and this is for those who can't afford regular math tutoring, and it's a big financial expenditure, by the way. So other options would be the following. One, try to find your student, or if I'm speaking to the student, try to find a great study partner. Okay, like a study partner, and this is somebody that's already doing very good in that math class, and try to hook up with them. Be like, hey, listen, can I study with you, etc. You got to be a little careful, but if they're willing to, careful in the sense that you don't demand all their time and have you teach them, but they could help you out. So try to get some extra help for somebody that's already in your class if they're willing to do that. That's sometimes that's not always the case. So this is always a good thing that you should always seek out. We already talked about getting extra help from the teacher, so that's one thing you need to be doing them regardless. Another thing you can do is you can go to kind of like your local community college, all right, and just ask if about any tutoring services. Oftentimes, they'll probably have more affordable options than the high school math teacher or middle school. Those those teachers there are going to have probably the highest premiums, and for good reason. They're going to be the most effective. But if you have a local community college, you might want to give them a call and see if they offer if they have any kind of tutoring available. Oftentimes, they will have tutors that are students taking, they might be in a math degree program or some sort of science, or they're good students, okay, but their rates are not going to be as much as, and I'm speaking generally, there might be exceptions, but they're probably much more affordable and could be pretty much, they might be just as effective in some degrees as a math tutor. You just never know. Okay, so but you could check them out if your budget can't afford an actual teacher. You can check that out. Now, learning centers, they're different. They're generally going to be pretty expensive as well. So if you're looking at a learning center versus a full math tutoring, you're gonna have to weigh that, as well. The only thing is, a lot of learning centers, the people that work for them, a lot of them are retired teachers, so they're definitely professionals as well. So they have some good folks, but their models can be different. Okay, it could be, you may not be as one-on-one. You may not get the one-on-one time. You may be like one teacher to 3 students or one teacher to 4 students, small groups, which still could be pretty effective. But you want to weigh that versus how much time your child or you can get with that teacher, even if it's a couple other students with that. So these are all things that you have to weigh. In addition to math tutoring, where's the physical location going to be at? Is it going to be at your home? So does the math tutor actually have to drive out to your house, that type of thing, or do you have to drive to some location that's 20 minutes away for math learning, like a math learning center? Well, all various different considerations here. Okay, now the other thing that I want to really suggest is really going online. Okay, like there are some great things. Obviously, this is a little pitch for what I do. I've spent years developing my math programs for online instruction. Okay, so I do a lot for test prep. Some people use my material for complete online courses. So and it's very effective. A lot of folks have gotten that, and it's much more affordable than having like a regular math tutor or learning center. So whether it's my program or other programs out there, I would suggest definitely take a look at some online tutoring. There's a variety of different type of tutoring. You can even get tutored one-on-one online. Okay, so there's a way to kind of do that as well. So check out your online options. Now, you got to be careful there because, again, just like with any tutoring, and I'm going to say this is a blanket thing. Just even if you have a top-notch math tutor, does not mean that that is still going to be effective for you or your student. Okay, the reason why, or your child, um, the reason why is that there's got to be chemistry there. Like you're like, well, what do you mean chemistry? Like, yeah, it's got to be a good personality fit. So your child or you got to enjoy learning from this person. Okay, if you're not really connecting with a tutor, or if you find that they're really not putting in the time, like really working hard enough tutoring you, and you can be like you don't want to have a tutor that says, okay, do these 10 problems, and you're paying $75 an hour, and then like the last 10 minutes they'll just kind of like go over the answers. That's bad tutoring. Okay, the tutoring you should be paying for is somebody who's engaged with you, showing you step by step, correcting your progress, giving your parent or you good feedback on what you need to do, follow through. It should be very engaged. Okay, if it's more like passive then yeah, you need to find yourself another tutor. So whether it's a learning center, tutoring, or an online service or anything, if you're not getting the benefit, if you're not, feeling like, hey, this is not working, then stop paying for it. Honestly, get yourself another tutor. Try someone else. Okay. So, so in the online or internet world, you try a few different things. And by the way, there are some things that offer like free trials or previews and stuff like that. So you could, I would definitely explore that and test them out. Don't sign up for any long commitment until you really feel like this is working for you. Now, I'm going to put something here. Kind of goes to the online thing. Let's just put it here like YouTube. So you're here, you're watching this YouTube video, right? So you're like, you know what? I don't need math tutor. I'll just go on YouTube and watch a bunch of YouTube videos. Well, that could be good and bad. And you're probably saying to yourself, well, yeah, you're on YouTube. Well, of course I am. But, I know myself, my track record, I'm a bona fide, certified, experienced, actual, real deal, professional math teacher. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that anyone else who puts math videos out on YouTube aren't good or they're not helping you. But there's a lot of videos out there. You just don't know who's making those videos, right? So you got to consider the source on who you're listening to. So on YouTube, you may not, excuse me, you may not know who that person is. So what I'm trying to say is, whatever you're watching and whatnot, and it's perfectly fine to go to do a lot of YouTube search to help you with a particular problem, and that's even smart. Okay, you should even do that as well for extra help. Take advantage of YouTube, but just be careful on who you're listening to, because if someone's teaching you how to do something on YouTube, and and you don't quite know who their background is, and you go take that to your class and it doesn't work out, then you can get yourself in trouble. I guess that's what all I'm saying is just consider who you're listening to. And on the internet, online, sometimes we don't really know. For me, I always try to make it a point to, and I let that through my actual videos, and you can check out my websites and my testimonials and whatnot. I've worked hard to do that, but I'm not the only person out there. There's a lot of great math teachers that share their expertise on YouTube, and that's That's free instruction. So you have a lot of options, okay? Online, your YouTube videos, online tutoring, local college, finding a study partner, just simply being a better student, okay? These are all things that you can do that cost little to no money, okay? Much, much more affordable, obviously, in getting extra help from your teacher, than just running off and getting a math tutor. But in the end, is it worth the money? Yes, it definitely can be. If you're trying to get into Harvard and you're taking AP statistics, and you're getting a B right now, and you really need to get boosted up to an A to make sure you have the best application for Harvard or MIT, then yeah, you need to get an edge, and you're going to need somebody that's going to give you that one-on-one individualized help. So in those, in the end, it's really what your budget allows, but just don't run the tutoring. Know why you're tutoring, okay, and then know your options, and then you can weigh um, all of those factors together on what's right for you. All right. With that being said, I know this maybe wasn't the most direct video, but hopefully I kind of forewarned you that it wasn't a clear-cut answer, but hopefully I gave you enough information for you to consider that will help you out. But if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. I do a lot of things to try to pass on information from my experience to help you out, to help you whether you're a parent or a student or an adult, just to make your life better when it comes to math. So I hope you consider subscribing, and if you do, make sure you hit that bell notification so you get my latest notifications on my newest videos. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. I'd certainly appreciate that. And leave me some feedback. Lets me know how I'm doing, and I do get a lot of feedback on my videos, which I appreciate, but it lets me know how I'm doing and gives me ideas on what what I can do better, what videos I can possibly make in the future to help you out. So I do appreciate your time. I hope you got something out of this video, and with that being said, I wish you all the best and have a great day.